Good afternoon, October 15th, 2014. Tom Trento here, WSBR 740 on the AM dial. Tweet your friends. If you don't know how to tweet, figure that out. Call your friends if you're driving in your automobile. Tell them to put on the radio 740 AM from Miami all the way up to North Palm Beach, or to go to our website, theunitedwest.org. Catch today's show. Two issues we're dealing with: Israel, good national security partner, or bad national security partner. And we have Arie Egozi, who will be here, Skyped in from Israel in just a little bit. Second part of our show, we have a very unique individual, Jan Morgan. Many of you in the conservative movement know about Jan Morgan. She runs Jan Morgan Media. She is a celebrity in the conservative movement for a just cause. Many years in the television industry, became a very vocal patriot, Second Amendment advocate, NRA, National Rifle Association instructor, owns a gun range in Arkansas. Is it Arkansas?
Yes, it's Arkansas.
Yeah.
It's Arkansas.
Owns a gun range there and recently said, Muslim-free zone, no Muslims coming into my gun range. She'll be with us live in just a little bit. Hey, guys, you got any video of the most beautiful Second Amendment NRA instructor we know of?
Yeah, we do.
Let's take a look.
You want to?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's me.
That's me. That's a
want
rush
that.
that we don't watch.
We want Jan Morgan introducing her gun range in
the Gun
Arkansas.
Cave indoor shooting range in Hot Springs, Arkansas. This is my range, and excuse the mess right now. We're currently under renovation, but in about 6 months, you won't even recognize this place. We're really excited about all the great things that are happening here. I hope you'll come out and shoot sometime, and especially if you're looking for something to do on the 4th of July, we're going to be open just for you all day and into the night. We're going to stay here as late as there are shooters wanting to shoot. And what better way to celebrate our nation's independence than to exercise your Second Amendment right? If I don't get to see you on the 4th of July, I hope that you have a safe and very happy 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, that's Jan Morgan, and she made a little bit of news a week ago, yesterday, the 7th, I believe, of October.
Right.
And she simply said, I don't want any Muslims in my range because they threaten me and they may want to kill me. I'm not giving them a loaded gun. Boom! Guess who went nuts?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Could it be the
Let me take a guess on that.
four-letter?
I don't. It's a tough one.
Council on Non-American Pro-Islamic Relations. The Council on Non-American Pro-Islamic Relations, CAIR, out of Washington.
You mean
DC.
the terrorist organization?
The terrorist organization, the front group for the Hamas. You got you got their press release.
Yeah.
Put their press release up for Jan.
How about that one?
Oh, that one. Okay.
That was pretty good. It says
that's a
for
pretty good
those-
one there, though. You know, we can go to that one here.
For those of you driving in your car, it says the boycott Muslim-free zone.
Yeah, and
Very
there's the CAIR.
controversial.
Oh, they even got her holding a gun. Oh my God, CAIR's
And,
packing mama.
It reads, CAIR asks Department of Justice to probe Arkansas business declared, quote, Muslim-free zone by owner. And that owner is none other than Jan Morgan.
Our live guest in just our live guest in just a little bit. Tom Trento here, director of the United West. We are an educational counterterrorism organization, folks. Pro-American, pro-Constitution. We stand with Israel in the fact that she needs to defend herself in her own homeland worldwide. We defend the Constitution. We fight usually against every single thing the President of the United States, Barack Obama, does. He has a worldview that's in contradistinction over against the historic constitutional principles of a conservative view. So we argue against what he does.
Who, Eric Holder?
Yeah, he's one of the guys too. We also argue against Islamic jihad. We make a distinction between a human being, a Muslim, who may or may not believe their own religion, and many of them don't, though they may believe the political end. And here's the distinction we'll discuss later with Jan, whether or not she's trying to ban people of a religious nature or a political stripe.
We had a little bit of that conversation yesterday.
Interesting. And
Yeah.
we'll get into that.
Yeah, she has actually an interesting argument, which I didn't think of, which actually makes complete
Well,
and
we'll get
total
that from
sense.
her. We'll get that totally from her. But by way of introduction, we're gaining a new audience in South Florida. We used to be on WNN 1470 AM. That's all the way on the right side of the dial. And the Beasley Broadcasting Company owns WNN 1470. Go there. In fact, go there 9 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. Until 9 o'clock, you'll hear Craig and, Brian Craig and Steve Kane. Craig and Kane. And they've been going at it lately, those guys.
They've been knocking and dragging and knocking it out.
They will start your day with all things anti-Obama and all things conservative, WNN 1470. That's them. In the afternoon at 4 o'clock, jump over to 740. Same company, Beasley Broadcasting Company. Different signal. We go from Miami way out west, all through Weston, all the way up to North Palm Beach. And we deal with national security, homeland security, and very controversial issues. We make a distinction, as I said, between a human being, a Muslim, and a political system, an ideological system called Islam. We criticize and critique as we would Nazism, as we do socialism, as we do communism. We criticize Islam for being a failed, comprehensive system for mankind, for society. That's our right to criticize anything. People get upset, call us Islamophobes and haters. That's part of the game. Don't hate human beings, Muslims, unless they attach themselves, particularly to the political, theocratic, lethal components of Islam, which many do. Then they become an enemy of this state. We are killing them in other lands because of individuals taking seriously, like the Islamic State, the dictates of Islam. But indeed, if they want to believe that stuff and not practice it here in the United States of America, they are not an enemy of the state. When they put their beliefs into practice, they become an enemy of the state ideologically here unless they pick up a weapon. And we criticize them culturally here. And the FBI is fighting them kinetically here if they pick up weapons like they've done in Boston, in New York several times, and in other parts of the country. And but for, don't miss this point. But for the TSA, which comes under a lot of criticism and scrutiny, but for those guys, imagine with me for a moment. You got to fly tomorrow. Any place. You're in Chicago, you want to go visit your kids in San Diego. No, maybe you're in Seattle and you've had enough of Indigenous Day and you want to go down to Florida to hit the beaches.
You want to get out of town before General Boykin gets there.
Yeah, before Boykin gets there on Friday. We'll have a show about him tomorrow. Or you're up in the Pacific. Well, we went to the Pacific Northwest. You're in, I don't know, some nitwit little state like Maine. How about that? We got some good friends up in Maine. But you want to go from Maine and you want to go to Denver and you want to catch a Broncos game. And tomorrow you're going to fly out. And you go to the airport and the TSA said, you know what? There's no threat. There's no Islamic State. It's not Islamic. Islam is a religion of peace. Nothing to do. Muslims are wonderful people. All that stuff's hyped by Trento and his Islamophobic friends. And the TSA takes a break for a day. And you can go on an airplane. And they advertise the fact that there's not going to be any security procedures. How many people are going to get on an airplane? But more importantly, how many people are going to believe there's going to be an attack tomorrow if there was no security procedures before time? Yeah. And how many of you, here's you leftist lying liberals, and we make a distinction between liberals who are confused and leftists who are ideologues. But all of you who try to say, oh, Islam's just wonderful, how many of you are going to say in your mind, a Muslim is going to blow up this airplane, I'm not going on it? That's what you're thinking. Why?
Right.
Why? Well, ask yourself why and watch this show, and you'll get the answer to that. Right, guys?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You could give away free tickets, and I don't know how many people would be getting on the planes.
And the point, though, and I do this with live audiences, I said, who's going to blow up the plane?
Right.
And they all go, a terrorist. What kind of terrorist? A Muslim terrorist. Okay? There is a lethal threat of Islam.
Right.
because of a whole bunch of reasons, and that's who's going to blow up the plane.
But the
Pretty
lefties will
simple.
say it's the Muslims doing it because of the socioeconomic hardships
exactly.
that they're brought up under. Even
Well,
when
that-
it's the
it
sons of
doesn't
doctors
matter.
and
The
doctors
plane
themselves
still gets
doing
blown up.
And if you push CAIR and those folks enough, they'll, I don't know, you think they would ever admit? We need to get some CAIR people on this show.
it. You know they won't.
We try every day. We tried yesterday to get some people on who call us all these names. They will not come on this show.
They will not.
We
because-
tried Ibe Hooper last year.
Yep. And I really don't do what a lot of radio hosts do and television hosts, just beat the hell out of the people. We use a scalpel here on our show, and we dissect them. We actually take their heart out, if they have a heart in their brain, show it to them, and say it needs repair, and we're here to help repair it. You know, hang with us.
Right.
They don't like that, though. We don't use anesthesia. That's the other problem.
Yeah.
But maybe we should.
You're so delicate. It's
I
not
know.
needed.
So
But
delicate.
it's such a fine,
We're
nice.
so nice Islamophobes. I know.
Yeah, we're the
In
nice
any event,
Islamophobes,
should Israel be the type of national security partner she has been with us? Some people in this country say no. Some people say yes. What ought to be the role of Israel moving forward as the Islamic State is about to take over the whole Middle East?
It is not Islamic or a state, according to your president.
Right.
Patrick Poole wrote an interesting article, and he gave 5 implications of Baghdad falling to the Islamic State.
Well, I said that about a month ago.
Well, one of the implications, and maybe next week we'll get him on to do the show with us here at 18 minutes. Wait a minute, we lost a minute, 16, 17, 17-ish minutes after 4 o'clock. Tom Trento, WSBR. Next week we'll try to get Patrick Poole. He said, if the Islamic State that claims it's the Islamic State actually takes over Baghdad, which is looking very good, then guess what? They will no longer claim to be the Islamic State. They will be the Islamic State. Case closed.
Well,
Well,
on that same token, yesterday I read that 6 major Pakistani Taliban commanders pledged their allegiance to al-Baghdadi. So if that's not a global caliphate, not
6 Taliban leaders.
Pakistani
That's amazing.
Taliban leaders
Well-
have pledged their allegiance to al-Baghdadi. So it's just, again, the caliphate gaining strength is just more of a reason to believe in it, according to the followers. And so it's a snowball. The bigger it gets, the bigger it's going to get.
And
they know it,
let's
man.
put to bed this idea that there needs to be a consensus of Muslim communities around the world to form a caliphate. Robert Spencer correctly pointed out it has never
Never been the
ever
case.
happened in the Islamic world. And further thing Robert Spencer said was, as soon as the Islamic State gets larger and bigger, you're going to see droves of people running to the caliphate. This is the new
Might makes right.
Right makes right. Strong horse, weak horse.
Especially in Islam.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And-
Absolutely. Very, very interesting. All the 2 or 3 jihad movements since the inception of Islam, 570, Muhammad was born. Since the inception of Islam, the jihad movements worldwide have not been door-to-door campaigns.
It's not
with
very
roses.
democratic.
It's not very democratic.
Nor is it a republic.
It's been, I kill you! I kill you! And why do it any differently? This is the proven path of jihadist Islam. It's
Right.
happening now, and we're watching it in real time
I
with
know.
cell phones.
And we predicted it.
And we predicted it.
Whoever could have seen this happening?
Well, let's go to Israel.
Yes.
Is Arie with us?
He
Yes, he
most
is.
certainly
All
is.
right. Arie Egozi, are you there, sir?
I am here.
He
Yes.
is.
Okay, we'll get him up on the screen. Tom Trento saying hello. He may not be able to see us. There he
There he
is.
goes.
Arie,
Okay.
how you doing? Can he see me, or did we cut off?
No, I cut our video.
Or
feed.
cut our video.
Yeah, Arie, you can't see me only because we're saving valuable resources. We have
Valuable
a bunch of
bandwidth.
squirrels running our generators here at our expansive studios. But good to have you here, your first-time guest. And we have 2 parts to the show. You may have heard a little bit of it. We're going to talk about Israel as a national security partner. Second part of our show, we have a controversial woman coming on. that made a statement about Muslim-free zone at her private indoor shooting range. But let's start with your job and your role in Israel with your business and your website. Why don't you introduce yourself and explain a little bit?
I have been covering the Israeli defense establishment for the last over 40 years. Most of the time I was the defense correspondent for Yediot Ahronot, Israel's largest daily. Before that I worked for the Israeli radio. In parallel to my job in Israel, I'm the Israeli correspondent for Flight International. It's a British aviation and defense magazine. And in the last 2 years, I'm the editor-in-chief of IHLS, which is Israel's largest and only website dealing with homeland security in its widest context.
All right, so your background, and for those of you who follow our show, theunitedwest.org, WSBR, 740 AM radio, my work, the work with Team B2, with Gaffney and all of our friends, you know that we hold Israel as a dear national security partner. Arie, you've been in that industry for all of these years. Did you say 40 years?
40, yeah.
What was the world like in Israel 30, 40 years ago?
Israel has been all those years. If you talk about technology, Israel has been always in the forefront of technology. I'm asked that question. Someone, you know, that to develop the Iron Dome, the rocket interceptor, took less than 3 years. I once asked a friend from Boeing company, how much time will it take to develop such a system in the US? He said, well, 10 to 12 years. It's not that the technology, that the US is lacking technology, but Israel needed that system yesterday, urgently, because rockets were falling on Sderot in southern Israel. So in Israel, you have a combination of technology and the need, the operational and the need. And that's why Israel, in some areas, like unmanned aerial vehicles, like UAVs, and rocket interceptors, and the Arrow missile interceptor, are in the forefront. In some areas, we are even more advanced than the US. It's not that they cannot do it, they just don't need it today. They will need it maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow.
All right, our plan, Arie, is to have you as a regular guest bringing information from the homeland security sector in Israel and informing our folks here. The reason for that, we reach a lot of opinion makers, decision makers with our show, with our videos. We reach a lot of activists, a lot of Zionists in America, a lot of Christian Zionists. And the more information we can provide for them, the more effective they can be in arguing the necessity of standing with Israel. And we project various scenarios where there will be the Islamic State at some point organizing the Hamas, Hezbollah, and coming, from 2 or 3 fronts against Israel. Those are going to be precarious days, notwithstanding capabilities of the IDF, the IAF. The United States is going to have to be there not as a empty suit partner, but as a vital partner, providing everything necessary for Israel to be victorious. So our view is educate the activists, mobilize in the streets, put pressure on the politicians to stand with Israel. You could help with that whole scenario. We have been asked, we covered the war, we did about 11 special shows on the war recently, Operation Protective Edge. And I got a million questions for you. I know we don't have that much time today, but we have been asked, how the heck does that Iron Dome system actually work? Can you simplify how the Iron Dome actually works and help our viewers and listeners understand?
Absolutely. Iron Dome has 2 main subsystems. One of them is an ELTA radar. ELTA is a subsidiary of Israel aerospace industry. So when a rocket is launched from Gaza, this radar first detects it and then projects the trajectory, and if the trajectory shows that the rocket will fall in the Mediterranean, there's no need to launch an interceptor, which costs a lot of money. But if the projected trajectory shows that the rocket will hit a populated area, then an Iron Dome interceptor is being launched, and in something like 5 to 7 seconds, there's no much time, there's no more time, it intercepts, it really hits the rocket. It's not a kinetic kill, but it has a warhead with fragments that really hits and kills the rockets. The numbers that were achieved during Protective Edge is something like 90%, 90, which is unprecedented in the world for such a system. By the way, there's no such system in the world that can efficiently intercept rockets. The idea, and still an idea, is to use laser beams, but there are many technical problems, and now the Iron Dome, and in a few years, I think next year, there'll be another David Sling. It's also an interceptor, also developed by Rafael with Raytheon from the US, will be able to intercept longer range rockets like the ones the Hezbollah has, like the Zilzal and the Fatah 110. So Israel will have, I think next year, 2 rocket interceptors. One is the Iron Dome, the second will be David Slings. And these are based on very advanced radars that detect the rocket immediately after they leave the launcher, and then the interceptor, which goes to meet them in the skies and kill them.
Wow. All right, we're with Arie Egozi at 28 minutes after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Another beautiful day here, actually a little rainy here in South Florida, October 15th. Tom Trento, WSBR 740 AM. I'm in the studio here with Mark and Damon and the rest of the crew. We are Skyping in live Arie Egozi. He is a national security, homeland security expert, writer, author, analyst for many years. We're going to put his website up so you can take a look at it and review it. He's explaining right now the technical capability and operational process of the Iron Dome, and that Israel has in development for next year, which is just around the corner, David's Sling, another interceptor type capability. Now, Arie, back to the Iron Dome for a moment. So the missile from the Hamas is launched. What typically, again, for our viewers and listeners, what was the size of the rocket that the Hamas was launching out of the tubes from the mosques and the hospitals and the schools? How big was the rocket they were sending over into Israel's civilian area?
Okay, they mainly have two types of rockets. One is a Qassam, which is a homemade rocket that they do based on the technology they got from Iran and North Korea years ago. It's a homemade. They have improved the quality, but it's still a homemade. And they have Russian-made or North Korean-made Grad rockets, which are original rockets. So they have the 2 types. One of them, the Qassam, carries something like 3 to 4 kilograms of explosive, and the Grad has something like 8 to 10 kilograms of explosive. Both can cause a lot of damage, and we saw some houses that were hit during Protective Edge, and the devastation, the damage was very big when it's a direct hit. So both rockets are very dangerous, and the Iron Dome did wonders, because if they launch something like 3,000 rockets to Israel without Iron Dome, we'll be in a very bad shape. I had the intercept over my house here when we sat in the sealed room in safe room in the house, and the intercept were just over our heads, and you could hear the warhead of the rockets exploding when the fragments from the Iron Dome hit it.
Wow.
And that was a good feeling to understand that you have a system that can protect you, and that the attack will, in most cases, will be over without any damage, without any injuries.
Wow. One more question on the Iron Dome, and then I got a quick question on the northern front. When the Iron Dome radar catches the incoming missile, do several Iron Dome units fire and triangulate it, or is it one interceptor that's fired?
Most of the time, it's the same battery, but in some cases, more than one interceptor is being launched. That is determined by different factors that I cannot discuss openly, but it's in the software of the system. Sometimes two interceptors, one after the other, are being launched to achieve a positive kill. But that all I can say in such an open program. You have to understand that we are in most cases under the censorship regulations, and this is a very sensitive issue.
And it should be. And we have up on the screen some of the Iron Dome battery facilities going on as you're speaking. One last question. We've got a couple of minutes left with you, and we appreciate you taking the time to Skype in, be on our show. Arie Egozi, and the question deals with this northern front activity that we're starting to sense in Lebanon and going over to the east in the Syria area, the northeast and the Golan, testing from both sides against the Israeli defenses. Give us your kind of feel as to what the heck is going on up there.
Okay, Hezbollah is ruling Lebanon. There is a government in Lebanon, but that's a puppet government. Hezbollah is ruling Lebanon, and Nasrallah is still in the bunker, but he rules the country. So until a few months ago, Hezbollah on the border would hide behind some kinds of facades. Now they are openly on the border. And they executed an attack on a IDF patrol 2 weeks ago, and said that this is a retaliation for something that Israel did on the border. Israeli shot some Lebanese that crossed the border. The Hezbollah is now openly on the Lebanese border, and I think it's a big danger, because unlike the Hamas in Gaza, the Hezbollah has something like 50 to 70,000 rockets. All of them are military issues. All of them are original rockets they got from Iran, from Syria, and from North Korea. And these rockets have big warheads. Some of them, like the Zilzal and the Fatah 110, have warheads of something like 50 to 80 kilograms of explosive. And I think that I hope it won't happen, but if Hezbollah decides to make a mistake and to attack Israel, Israel will have to just go crazy to stop it, because if they start launching these rockets into Israel, it will paralyze Israel completely. So I think, and I wrote in my website again and again, that if that happens, I think that Israel would have to take some very drastic, and I mean drastic, steps to stop it in a few hours. Israel will not be able to bear an attrition war with rockets with Hezbollah in Lebanon. And I think that the situation now on the Lebanese border is very, very volatile, very touchy. Anything can ignite this barrel of fuel. and the IDF on the border is on high alert. There were reports that Hezbollah has a plan to, in case there is a war, when they start launching rockets, they will try to make a dash attack into the Galilee and to take over some parts of northern Israel. If that is true, then Israel has a big problem, and I'm sure that the IDF is getting ready to counter such a situation. Wow. It can happen. I hope it won't. But the northern border now with Lebanon is very, very, very sensitive, to say the least.
Wow, Arie, we got a couple of questions here from the guys. Then we'll let you go. But that's the situation, Mark.
Yeah, it's a real quick question, and just give a real short answer on this. Is what is the difference for our first-time listeners and our other listeners? What is the difference between the Islamic State, or ISIS, Hezbollah, and Hamas? How do they differ at all, or if they differ at all? And do you find fighters from Hamas leaving and joining the Islamic State? Have you seen that happen?
No, we see Israeli Arabs who joins ISIS going to Turkey and from there to Syria. I think there are slight differences between Hamas. They're all terrorists. But ISIS, I think, have proved that they are the worst. What they do, Hamas also killed people in the streets in Gaza, Fatah people, and Hezbollah have made atrocities in Lebanon. They're all terrorists. They all hate Israel. They all want to kill Jews, to just establish the Islamic State. Hamas hides those aspirations like Hezbollah. ISIS is very open on it. They say we want to establish the Islamic State, and we will use every mean that we have in our book to do it. And they show that they are going ahead with that. They are, in a few days, I think they will take over Baghdad. I think the coalition attacks are a bad joke. Sending 2 F-18s to throw a few bombs on ISIS is really a bad joke. In that way, the U.S. and the coalition, so-called coalition, will not stop ISIS. So there are slight differences, but all the three, Hamas, Hezbollah, and ISIS, are from the same stuff. They want to kill people who are not Islamic religious people, and they all hate Israel.
So it's like the slight difference between Jeffrey Dahmer and Charles Manson. Basically, just kind of like, they're both kind of really terrible people. One just more disgusting than the other. That's basically what it is. Yeah, no, it's just the mass murderers. Between one, it's just a difference between one or the other. It's just a matter of degree is what it is.
It's a matter of degree. I think that ISIS use those videos with atrocities to frighten the enemy. And when you see them shooting hundreds of people lying on the ground, I think the Nazis did not do such thing when they are beheading people in the streets. I think this we didn't see such scenes, not in Gaza and not in Lebanon with Hezbollah. They went, I think, to a point that we didn't see in the past, and that's part of their strategy
they took a different tactic.
To terrorize the enemy.
Yeah, they took a different tactic. They showed civilians and stuff like that, and did a PR campaign. ISIS
Absolutely.
just went the 180 opposite and said, "Hey, we're trying to recruit members."
Shopping campaign.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to hold it there because we gotta move on,
right.
And we got so much to talk with Arie about. Arie Egozi, Israel's Homeland Security Home. The website, put the website up once more, folks. If you want to get in touch with Arie, you can do it through his website. Why don't you give out the name of the website and an email if you want, Arie, for folks to get in touch with you, and then we're going to have to say goodbye to you.
Thank you very much.
You got an email you want them to contact, or should they go through the website?
Go to the website. There's an info email there. they can send me an email. I promise to answer any one of them.
It's i-hls.com. That's
.com.
i-hls.com. And we're spending some time on it, and it's a really fantastic and information-packed website. Anyone who's interested in the defense and security of Israel definitely needs to take a stop by the website and check it out.
Absolutely. All right, Arie, thank you very much. We'll touch base with you next week at another briefing on what's going on. Tom Trento here, 41 minutes after 4 o'clock on the 15th of October. The movie we have been talking about, unfair movie about abolishing the IRS, replacing with a fair tax, had its premiere nationwide last night, very successful. And there's a possibility, gentlemen, that there's going to be an encore showing, an encore screening in the United States.
They don't encore screening is only available if the first show was a success.
Yeah, it looks like the numbers are coming in, and the folks are going to tell us. And that screening will be next Tuesday, the 21st of October. But we'll tell you more about that. Fascinating segment with Arie Egozi.
Right.
I had a million questions.
I know, so did I. Wanted to ask him about Egypt, you know, how relationships are going there, and, you know, are they truly a partner in security now? And what he thinks of Turkey, the big Islamist nightmare that they've turned into.
And you know, the average American, and here's what we're trying to do with our show. The big idea today, one of them, Israel is indeed an essential, necessary, required national security partner for us on many levels. When you get somebody like Arie, who for the past 40 years, I mean, you could go around America, pick somebody and say, how much national security involvement have you had in your life in America over the past 40 years? And they're going to go, nothing. No. Virtually any Israeli says, I live, you know, with national security concerns. Now you get an expert. Not only do I live with them, but I have studied them, written about them, researched them, been involved with them. And he is one of the subject matter experts we'll be bringing weekly to brief us on what's going on in Israel. So we're thankful to Arie Egozi and his website, Israel's Homeland Security Home. Go there, folks, for sure. Now, where are we? Speaking of Israel, if you want to really get there and check things out, come with Frank Gaffney, myself, Ambassador Urim Ettinger, and Ronnie Wexler, and the boys in here, Mark and Damon, and several others from the United West, March 21st. Woohoo! We're going March 21st. Can't wait to go. March 21st, 2015. There, it's up on your screen. You can contact Tom at The United West, the name of our organization. The United West, my name, Tom. The United West, Tom at theunitedwest.org. We'll send you the link to the website, all the information. It's about $3,000, $2,900 to go for 10 days, trip of a lifetime. We will do the typical, let's go check out the religious and historic sites. We'll be in the old city. We will do the Christian stuff. I'm the Christian. I speak at these different places. But we're also going to do national security, and we're going to visit the hot spots that are of concern. And we don't visit them in a precarious or irresponsible way. We're not going to go on the front lines of the Syrian war and put on headgear and bulletproof vests. We're going to be a bit back, a bit removed, but we're going to be close enough to talk to the IDF soldiers guarding these areas and be briefed by them, both on the Lebanese end, Syrian end, down on the Gaza border. So you're going to have briefing sections in the field with the IDF warfighters, and all of this is designed to equip you, the supporter of Israel, the Zionist, Christian, Jew, atheist, whatever you may be, to come back, share it with people, and to stand with Israel in these very difficult days. Because if the Israelis were not out there holding back the Islamic onslaught, folks, your gas would be about $20 a gallon in your car, and the terror base, in fact, the Islamic State wants to get the oil fields of Saudi and other places. If they get that stuff, forget about it. Industry shut down in the U.S. Israel's holding back all of this. The only free democracy in the middle of 330 million people who hate them and who hate us. Are there any Muslims in the 330 million that don't hate them? Of course. But they're insignificant in terms of the onslaught of the Islamic State at this point in history. Learn that. Israel is essential. Come on this trip, March 21st, 2015.
Yes.
Yes. We have Jan with us.
Yes, we do.
Hi, Jan Morgan. Are you there?
Hey, Tom Trento. Yes, I am. How are you doing, buddy?
We're having a blast here today on the 15th of October,
Sounds like it.
2014. Yes, we don't have you on video. We had a technical problem.
Yes.
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
sorry
it's
about
called-
that. I'm in my
Okay.
gun range right now, and it's a metal building, and I think our ability to get out of this building via cell phone or anything is just ridiculous.
Okay, then what we'll do is, because everybody wanted to hear your story, we're gonna get your story. We're putting up shots of you. They know who you are, but we're
Right.
gonna tell your story shortly, and then next week we'll have you back for an extended segment. We'll promote it and really go through this. But what the heck trouble are you causing, Jan Morgan? What's going on out there in
I don't
Arkansas?
know. Apparently, three words, Tom, set the world on fire. And those words were Muslim-free zone. All I did was write an article based on and I listed 10 points about why I made this decision to protect, for the safety and security of myself as well as my patrons who come here to shoot. That's all I did. And apparently, it caused a liberal meltdown, and the liberals and the Muslims united for this unholy alliance of war against Jan Morgan. So somehow, CAIR, even though CAIR, you would think, should be concerned about the mosques in the United States that are producing homegrown terrorists here on American soil, that, to me, it seems like if they're really concerned about the Islamic relations in America, that they would be focused on fixing that problem. But no, they're worried about this, this little woman down in the middle of nowhere, Arkansas, who doesn't want Muslims in her gun range. That's their big agenda right now. So they've asked the Justice Department to investigate, and of course the ACLU has joined forces with them to see if they can't, between those two agencies, bring me down. And I think that's their mission right now. Whether or not it's going to work, I don't know. I just know that if I go down, I'm going to go down fighting.
All right, folks, we have with us our dear friend, special guest Jan Morgan. She's on the phone with us next week. We're gonna put together a Skype video interview with her. It is 48 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon, WSBR 740 AM, Miami to North Palm Beach, iHeart Radio. Go to iHeart, plug in WSBR 740 AM. It'll pop up, lock onto it. Worldwide, you can listen to our show anywhere in the world at 4 p.m. East Coast time. Go to our website, theunitedwest.org. 4 o'clock, you can watch the show. We will leave the shows up for a day. You can watch it anytime after 5 p.m. on the day it airs. And then if you want to watch it after that, you can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/theunitedwest. All of our archives are there. Our special guest, Jan Morgan, did not just fall off the pumpkin truck yesterday. Jan has been in media as a television news person for over 20 years. She is an American patriot. She's taken her communication skills, started a media company, has hundreds of thousands of followers, speaks all over the place, is a nationally recognized certified firearms instructor for the National Rifle Association. She is an amazing woman, but she caused a little bit of problem in the Islamic world. And the first thing that hits me, Jan, and we'll get into this more on our next interview, but you go, oh man, suppose you said like no blacks or no Italians. Tom Trento's Italian, no Italians. But then I know, because we have gone into many mosques, when we go into the mosques, gentlemen, what must we do with our shoes?
Take your shoes off, you Islamophobe.
There you go.
There's Imam Abdullah's with us. But Jan, what has been the gist of the negative criticism? What are they saying about you?
The negative criticism has been the typical name calling, which is very lame and unsubstantive. the majority of the response that we have got has been overwhelming in support, and we've gotten calls from not only all over the United States, but all over the world. I'm hearing from places like Switzerland, Africa, the UK, Australia, places where Islam is destroying their culture. And those are the folks calling. We're getting a lot of support from all over the United States. People dropping in, saying they're going to financially back us if we get in a legal fight. So it's been unbelievable. It's been encouraging to me to see the overwhelming support of Americans. We're also hearing from businesses all over the country who are firearms-related businesses that say they were either already doing this, they just didn't announce it, or they are doing the same thing and they're publicly taking a stand as well.
Wow. Well, what is your
response?
Kind
of an update on the response that we've been getting.
So very, very positive that way. But the usual suspects, the ACLU, CAIR, probably the SPLC, Southern Poverty Law
Yes, I've been
Center.
called a racist, which is kind of hilarious because Islam is not a race. It's it's not even a religion. It's a theocracy, but that's neither here nor there. The fact is, it's not a race. So I just laugh at those people, and I've had death threats, which I'm used to that. I've been on the Islam situation for years, and as you know, Tom, because you have as well. The death threats accompany that anytime but interestingly enough, all I do is share verses from their Quran, and you would think if they were proud of their, quote, religion, that they would be happy that I'm sharing their verses. But apparently, sharing scripture from their Quran is, they don't like that. And so that's been a problem for me for some time. But I have been contacted by the FBI, who has told me that ISIS is here, and that they're monitoring the chatter and paying attention to what's going on related to me because they're concerned that I will become a target of opportunity.
Wait, Jan, let me clarify what I think you just said. Mm-hmm. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has contacted you, as they do many people.
Yes. And they actually met with us.
But
not because of the Justice Department. They said they were not here on Justice Department business. They were not contacting us because we were in any kind of trouble. They had not been asked to do an investigation. They simply wanted to let me know that a soldier who is actually involved in the bombing of ISIS targets had tweeted, to his wife and to his son that, things were going well, and he was sending them pictures and that sort of thing. And, of course, ISIS in America picked up on that and targeted his son. His son is okay, but they're having to keep an eye on that situation. And they just wanted me to know that ISIS is here in America, and not necessarily in the way that we would think, not the guys in the black outfits waving the black and white flags. Right. He said these are people who are sympathetic to their cause, people who support their cause and are looking for ways to show them their support. And those are the kinds of people that will contact them and say, give me a target of opportunity.
Oh, Muslims.
Well,
so here I am. They said, you're just a little high profile right now, so
be careful,
so you might end up being in in that list of people, and they just wanted me to understand what I was up against, and I said, okay, gotcha.
No. The immediate knee-jerk response to a Muslim-free zone, and we've heard people who, when we talk about this, say, is she gonna? What's next? Blacks? No blacks allowed? What is your response to someone?
My response to that is a person's skin color is something they're born with, okay? Islam is something you choose to follow. You may be born into Islam, but as an adult, I hold adults accountable for the religion they align themselves with. So that's my position. And also, I don't see a list. I carefully documented in my article, Tom, 10 reasons why I made the decision I did. And in our range, we are screening everyone who comes in. And it's not just for that. It's for any kind of behavior, any kind of activity that would justify me saying, I don't think I want you shooting in my range today. And I've turned people away for a variety of reasons, including smelling alcohol on them, people that seem to be under the influence of meth. I have no way of proving that, but when someone comes in, I have full discretion. The range part of our business is a private club. So that kind of changes things, too.
And you have a responsibility.
One second. And the audience needs to understand, 55 minutes after 4 o'clock, we just have a few minutes left with you, Jan. The audience needs to understand, a gun range is not a coffee shop, as I've read you said.
Right. It's not a coffee donut shop. The people coming in here for our services are dealing in lethal weapons, and they're dealing in lethal weapons in close proximity to other citizens. You're standing in a range with 7 firing lanes, and there's someone within a couple of feet of you handling a lethal weapon. So we have to feel very comfortable about every person who walks in the door and wants to go in and shoot, and we are very careful about scrutinizing the folks who want to do that for safety and security of everyone involved.
And we all are familiar with Chris Kyle, the American Sniper
yes,
story.
Exactly.
America's number one sniper.
Any behavior anybody displays that gives me a reason to be concerned about their mental stability would have a problem with me in getting into our range.
All right. Well, Mark has a question, and then we'll have to wrap it up with you until next week.
Yeah, so you ban skinheads, Nazis, and other people who have an ideology that don't really need to have a gun in their hand. Do you actually look for those type of people also?
I look for any type of security risk, regardless. I mean, I'm screening for a number of things.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I got a million questions.
I know,
but
I do too.
We're pushing the clock.
We
here.
need another hour. There's 2 days in a row.
I know. But there's some very good arguments out there that she is not running a federal organization.
Right.
She's running a private club.
Right, with guns.
Yeah, with guns.
Okay.
And you may not like it, then go to another gun range.
Listen,
you know?
That's right. There are plenty of gun ranges. They can take their choice. Anybody can choose. It's a free country. So, my point is this. Bottom line is this. I will close my doors and shut this place down before I will compromise on security and safety of my patrons. That's it. Bottom line.
On that note, we are going to let you go, Jan Morgan.
Thanks, guys.
We'll be back next week with you when you get out of the metal container you're in.
Yeah. They got her locked away. She's in a cellar. She's in a bunker right now.
You be safe, and God bless
you. Enjoy doing the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Jan Morgan at 58 minutes after the hour, 58 minutes after 4 o'clock. Tom Trento, Mark Damon, the rest of the crew, WSBR AM radio 740 on your dial, iHeart Radio. Be sure to go to our website, theunitedwest.org. Very important, be sure to make a decision to come on our limited space trip, fact-finding mission. We're leaving March 21st, 2015. $3,000 plus your air. You can go to the website heritagestudyprograms.com, heritagestudyprograms.com. Click on the picture of Gaffney and myself, and you'll get all the information. Trip of a lifetime at one of the most interesting moments in history. Gentlemen, your thoughts.
I can't wait to go, Trento.
No Muslims allowed on this trip.
I can't wait
no
to
Muslims
go.
allowed.
Well, Zudi Jasser, we'll let him.
We'll let Zudi come.
Yeah.
We don't make the decision who comes. People send their information. We have to send it to the folks in Israel. They make decisions.
Your trip this is a Muslim-free trip?
Oh. I'm going to CAIR on you.
Trento supports a Muslim-free trip to Israel.
Actually, I'm going to CAIR, the Hamas American Islamic regime.
I like that.
Yes, the Hamas American Islamic
Give me a head with
regime.
hair. No, if the individual can get by the Israeli security, they're our guests. Pretty simple.
Do you think Nihad Awad could get it through?
Jihad
and Dawa?
Jihad Dawa.
Well, we'll learn more about them tomorrow, folks, because we have a fascinating show tomorrow. CAIR, the people going after Jan Morgan, have gone after 2 other dear friends of ours. General Jerry Boykin, the head of Delta Force, Frank Gaffney, head of Center for Security Policy. We will have a response for our friends at CAIR, our terrorist friends at CAIR.
I mean,
what did you just call them?
Tune in
terrorists.
Did I call them terrorists? Oh, my God. Tune in tomorrow. Tom Trento signing off for all of us here. Take care. God bless you.